You want to take a trip. It's time to travel. Maybe one last one, maybe another one, but you haven't done it for a while. Before you get started, it's time to pull out the pipes, the 5 Ps, and the pause. Planning ahead does make a difference, but the plan may be different than it used to be. So a few tips when you're going to take a trip. Think about packing a small to-go bag. This is just for the basics of the trip, and it's separate than your luggage for when you get somewhere. This is the travel bag, if you would. When you had a kid, you made a bag to go, and there's a reason for that. We want to be able to meet our needs in the moment, and whatever those needs pop up to be, we want to be able to meet them. They could be for intake, they could be for energy flow, they could be for output, they could be for comfort, or it could be to address pain. Because that's the case, this bag makes a big difference. And you want to make sure you have access to it pretty much at all times. Now, the tricky part is you may or may not want the other person to have access to it at all times. You want to keep it perhaps as a special thing that you can pull out and, like magic, take care of things that need to be taken care of. What are some other things to keep in mind when you're traveling? Some tips. This preparation does matter. Consider the color of clothing that you're wearing and that the person's wearing, and maybe match them up, make them bright, so that if the person does go into the restroom and you think, okay, I'm here, I'll notice, and somehow they don't come out when you thought or where you thought they would come out of a restroom area, and it's been fine up to now. Here's the reality. Things don't always work like you think they're going to work when we're making a trip. So you want to be able to highlight someone in this color for everybody to help, or someone to help if you're looking for that. You also may want to take a picture that day. What does the person look like? What have they got on? What's their current appearance? And you also want to think about how congested our area is going to be when we're traveling, and adjust your time of travel to match lower degrees of congestion, regardless of what it is you're doing. So don't visit a museum at high traffic times or when the kids are there, or look at what you're doing and think about the environment, because it can matter. Now, one last thing when you're thinking about all this, do you have a backup plan? Do you have a chill out space? Is there authority figures that you know about in this driving or traveling, or how are you getting where you're going? If you're not sure of what the structure for getting support is in a moment in time, try to figure that out ahead of time if you can, so you're not getting to a panic state when what you need is a clear head to figure out what might be going on that needs to be addressed. So now you feel like you're prepared. Well, is the person prepared? Just like the medical trip that you may have made early on to get the diagnosis or the evaluation, you need to think about this trip that you're taking. How much advance notice? What do you want to have them have with them? What do they need with them to feel comfortable? Travel can be great, but it can also be overwhelming. So keep it short, keep it simple to start with. Try it out. If you're going to have people wear things that they haven't worn for a while, make sure they still fit. Make sure they still feel right. Even check them for whether or not they have the potential to manage stains, to manage quick changes. Look at what's going on around and what you have planned, and try to keep it light. You're going to be keeping up with a lot. Can you make things work for both of you without overwhelming either of you? And then you're in it, participating. How's it going for each of you? Do you need a third party? Do you need a break? Do they need a break? And you're doing an evaluation. When you evaluate, what are you going to keep doing, sustain, and what are you going to switch? Could be you back off of some of your plans for places or people or props or maybe even programming. Or maybe there's another possibility. Maybe you decide enough is enough and we're heading home. It's not a failure. You tried it out and you learned something. Take a deep breath, because there may be another chance to try something different. There are a few try to avoid or don't things in general. The first, don't assume everything's going to go the way you hope it will. So you're less likely to be disappointed when it doesn't turn out to be ideal. Second, really don't expect authorities to accommodate or be helpful. That way, if they are, it's a bonus. And that bonus can make all the difference in how you're viewing the trip. And your partner does, but don't expect changes to happen because you need them. Don't get into a situation where you can't monitor what's going on to your comfort level. So one example, don't use male or female bathrooms if you're the opposite gender, unless the family bathroom is not available. And also, you might want to practice ahead of time, really being alert and being tuned in to how you're going to handle it when we're in a public restroom, given the private restroom at home. You have to think, wow, okay, this is different. Am I going to be able to help somebody do the thing I'm helping them do in that situation? So, yeah, avoid situations where your discomfort impacts the quality of the trip and the care. This isn't as simple as it seems. So don't give up, but possibly let go of some of the expectations you have and enjoy the moment. You'll have them, even if it isn't the trip you dreamed.